one of the first things that I do want to get here, that I was going to get in the last stream, is the inventory upgrade, which I believe is this guy right here. And I actually think you can probably put inventory upgrades on most of the armor pieces. Let me see here. So the helmet doesn't have one. Oh, no, it does. Yeah, they all have inventory upgrades. I don't know if it matters, like, which one you put it on, or if you have to put it on all of them, or if putting it on all of them, like, increases your total storage capacity. I'm not actually quite sure. But thankfully, it is very easy to make. It just requires a bunch of wood and, of course, the blank dark steel upgrade. So I will make a few of these here. We'll make one, and we'll see how that goes. Then maybe we'll make some more if they're necessary. I assume I do have the levels to enchant that. I do indeed. And then if I go ahead and shift right-click and put that on there, I believe the hotkey is I. Right, I see. So we do have like slots that unlock as you add more and more to it. So you know what? We might as well go ahead in that case then, I guess, and make 3 more of these. One for each armor piece, and kind of fully unlock that chest. The benefit to this, of course, is that we can finally retire this blue shulker box that we have, in place of just being able to hit I and access all of our tools from there. We could, of course, if we wanted to, just put all of our tools and stuff into the AE2 system, because we can access our system in most locations now. The only reason that I'm not going to do that is for the oh gosh, you can't. Oh, you need. Oh, I see. That's not how that works, chat. I was hoping that you would add like a tier 1 upgrade to all of them, and then you would get like more storage here. But I see that each piece of armor has like its own storage slot, which is a little odd. But it means that basically we probably want to increase the capacity on our chest plate slot, which again doesn't really look too bad. That's less than ideal, and it was kind of a waste, I guess, of some of those dark steel upgrades. Thankfully, they're not too hard to make. And I assume I am going to have to get an octadic capacitor if I want to go, the octadic, the vibrant bimetal gear there. That should be fine, I think, actually. I believe I was, in fact, actually cooking up some energetic alloy over here. I was indeed. Look at that, chat. He's prepared for the crafts required. So we'll go ahead and upgrade this. And then I think what I want to work on after that, chat, is I want to start working on really upgrading our void ore miners, I think, and really trying to push through the tiers with environmental tech. But we'll get that in just a second. Let me get even more extraterrestrial matter. Let's go ahead and chomp down on all of those, and then just go ahead and right-click, and then put both of those in here. I'm hopeful that that's going to give us... Do we need more than 29 levels? You need 32 levels to upgrade that? My goodness. All right, so now hopefully, yeah, we got a bunch more space. So what we should be able to do is basically grab all of this stuff and kind of just dump it all in here. That way we still always have it on us, even if we don't have access to our applied energistics system, but no longer do we have to put down the shulker box, and on top of that, no longer do we have to, potentially lose the shulker box if I put it down and then forget where it is. So yeah, that should be quite nice for us to have. I will store my shurikens in there because otherwise my grass is going to burn. All right. So now we have that, chat. Between streams, I have done a bit of work over in the overworld. Specifically, I've set up 2 more tier 1 void ore miners, which really wasn't too difficult. The hardest part was getting more rubies for the actual miner itself, like this corbett at the top here. But we still found some in the overworld, and in fact, we still have a few more, I believe, down where we found the last one. So we could make even more of these if we wanted to, because I really want to work on trying to get to the higher tiers, right? I really want to start getting resources faster. I mentioned it before that we do have to get up to tier 4 before we can really press on with some of these quests here. We need tungsten, we need iridium, we need a bunch of stuff that we currently cannot get with the tier 2 miner. As of right now, we're doing pretty well on crystals, and we might even have enough actually to upgrade to tier 3. Essentially what I've done here, by the way, is I have put down 2 more miners. I have hooked them all up with power, so now instead of having the P2P tunnel directly up against the miner, the P2P tunnel is, of course, connected to energy conduits, which then send power to all 3 of the miners, and then we have item conduits bringing all the stuff from the 2 iron chests around into the diamond chest, and then on the diamond chest we have an import bus, which does have a few acceleration cards, pulling all of the ores into the system. And what I've done is, back at home, I have kind of shimmied around and reorganized a couple of the storage drawers here. We had like a bunch of drawers dedicated to things that we don't really have a lot of. Like, for example, I think we had a storage drawer that was holding just this 1 shulker shell, So I've taken out a bunch of stuff here and given each of the ores a drawer, and I've also put in a couple of the storage upgrades in there so that hopefully we do have quite a bit of space for those going forward. The crystals are also in there as well. So now hopefully everything's going to keep on coming through, and hopefully we're not going to run into any kind of, you know, cloggage issues over in the overworld here when these chests get full. Now, I did some number crunching, and I believe that if it's crystals we're after, specifically the crystal that we seem to be kind of needing the most right now is the Ionite crystal, which is this one right here, the Iridium crystal, the tier 2 crystal, because that allows us to make the crystal lens, which this one does have, this one also does have, but this one doesn't have. Yeah, I think I will replace this with a crystal lens here. The crystal lens, of course, being the one that allows us to get more crystals. But after doing some number crunching, it turns out that the tier 1 miner actually gets you these iridium crystals faster than the tier 2 miner, because without any speed upgrades, the tier 2 miner really isn't that fast. Let me quickly craft up this crystal laser lens here. There we go, fantastic. So that should hopefully get us even more of the tier 1 and tier 2 crystals going forward. So, yeah, like, according to the digital guide here, if we look at the tier 1 miner, the default duration, which is how long it takes to generate an ore, is 400 ticks. It doesn't say ticks, it just says 400. I don't know why, but it is 400 ticks. There are 20 ticks per second in Minecraft, which means that this takes 20 seconds to produce one ore. Now, the tier 2 miner is not much faster. It takes 320 ticks, which I believe is 16 seconds. So it's only 4 seconds faster per ore. And especially when it comes to those crystals, the iridium crystals, these ones are right here, you'll see that with the tier 1 miner, we have a 16.7% chance to get these with the crystal lens, whereas with the tier 2 miner, it goes down to 8.6%. So the chance drops by about half, but the speed only increases a tiny amount, right, by 80 ticks or 4 seconds. So you actually get significantly less iridium crystals from the tier 2 miner, which kind of makes sense because the tier 2 miner is also getting you the tier 3 crystals as well, those Ionite crystals that you need to progress on to tier 3. But I do think it's worth having a couple of tier 1 miners around just to keep our tier 1 and tier 2 crystal generation going, because as we progress forward and as we upgrade to tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, tier 6, you still need those previous tiers, right? Because you still have to make a bunch of structure frame, and those higher tiers of structure frame are all made using the previous tier of structure frame. So, for example, if we're going to make, a tier 6 miner, the tier 6 miner needs 92 tier 6 structure frame, which means we need 96 tier 5 structure frame, and then 96 tier 4, and tier 3, and tier 2, and tier 1, and all the way down, right? You get the idea. So, I think we are going to want to keep these. We might even go as far as to make a few more tier 1 miners and just have, like, a ton of them going to try and really increase our crystal generation. For now, though, I think the first thing that we probably want to do is upgrade this miner, if we can, to tier 3. I think that is, once again, going to lower our crystal odds in some regards, but I think it's definitely worth it because we need to start getting the crystals for tier 4. On top of that, I think that we really want to start looking at the modifier slots, right? The reason that this is not very good at the moment is because it's quite slow. We can improve that with the speed modifiers. However, if we want to make the speed modifiers, we need to get the mica, right? This stuff right here, which means we're going to have to set up our first resource miner, which I think is definitely a worthwhile investment. So, if we're going to make a tier 3 miner, chat, we need 56 tier 3 structure frame, which needs 112 of the crystals, the tier 3 crystals, which are called Ionite. Trying to keep all the crystal names straight in my head. So we need 112 Ionite just for that. Then we need an extra 56 Ionite in order to actually upgrade the miner. And I think 182 should do it, actually. So let's have a look. Do we have what it takes? Let's craft basically all of our... Well, first of all, let's craft up the new Void Ore controller. Void Ore controller. Let's go with the tier 3 version. So we need 6 of these Ionite blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Perfect. And at that point, it should just be as simple as shift-clicking in the recipe here. We do need 1 diamond block. I'm going to go ahead and make like a stack of diamond blocks here. We do have like 9,000 diamonds, so that should not be an issue for us. Any second now when our system reconnects, there we go. We should be able to actually craft that up. Make sure you're not using a crystal lens. You're not using a clear lens. Fantastic. Okay, so there we go. That's the tier 3 controller. From there, we need 56 tier 3 structure frame. Right now we have 32 tier 2 structure frames, so we can go ahead and upgrade hopefully all of that to tier 3. That is a lot of diamonds and a lot of nether quartz. How much nether quartz do we have? We've got 68. That should be fine. Perfect. But we then need a little extra. Was it 56? 52? 56. So we need 24 more. Okay. Which means we need to start with 24 more structures for tier 1. Interconnect should be very craftable, actually. And in fact, it's probably worth, chat, at this point in time, actually teaching our system how to craft this stuff. Because there are quite a few crafts involved here. It's not a particularly hard craft. We could do it quite quickly here. But going forward, again, we're going to have to make so much of this stuff. And specifically things like the interconnect and the modifier component. Those are not only used in the structure frame, but they're also used in the lens cores. They're also used in the structure panel. They're also used in the interconnect. They're used in all kinds of things. And so let's quickly head on through to here and see if we can't teach our system to make some of the kind of fundamentals. Because really none of these are too expensive. They're just a bit of a pain to craft. So we'll encode you. We will encode the modifier component. We might have to teach our system how to make iron blocks, actually, as well. And we'll also do the black concrete. We want to make sure the black concrete is using floral black powder where possible. And we probably also want to teach our system how to make that floral black powder, if I were to guess. The system gets a bit janky when you try and use items like this, like reusable items, because if I were to just encode this, and then let's say I requested 50 floor black powder, the system would think that it needs 50 black petals and 50 pestle and mortar, and really just needs the one. So I don't really think that we can automate that just yet. So we'll come back to the black dye, I think. How many slots do we have over here? The answer is basically 0. We can, for now, do something like this, and then put our patterns in here. Those can connect into here. You really have two options when it comes to auto crafting. You can surround a molecular assembler with interfaces, or you can surround an interface with molecular assemblers. The benefit to doing it this way, where you surround a molecular assembler with ME interfaces, is that you get more pattern slots, right? The downside is that it's quite slow, because right now, if we wanted to craft, a bunch of stuff, everything has to go through this molecular assembler, and although it does have acceleration cards, that's going to slow it down. If you have for example, one ME interface surrounded by molecular assemblers, and you use co-processing units, you can have one ME interface split its crafting operation between multiple molecular assemblers, and therefore really increase the speed of your crafting. And I think that is what we'll probably do in the long run. For now, though, this should be a good kind of stopgap. Does that work in terms of crafting? Like, do we have access to whatever the name of this item is? Like, can we craft iron blocks now? We cannot. So we do actually have to connect that. I didn't know if that would connect through the molecular assembler. It looks like it doesn't. So we might have to do something like this, which I think should be okay. Let me go and quickly check our channel situation. I think it's fine. We are using a full 8 channels here. But going that way, we're still only using 7 channels. So we actually have one more channel spare over on this side here. So hopefully now we can request that iron blocks be crafted. We can. Okay, cool. So in that case, I think I also probably want to teach it how to make like the different tiers of structure frame. Okay, so tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. We can always add more as time goes on. So let's see if we can't request the extra 24 tier 3 structure frame. I assume we might be missing some black dye, maybe. Oh, it looks like we are good. Okay, so that should be chugging away. Do we have like one more acceleration card? We don't, but I do think we have what it takes to make one more acceleration card now. Just to make this guy as fast as possible. Nice. And so that should be all of the structure frame. Cool. So at that point, I think we're pretty much good to go. I'm assuming that the structure panel maybe goes down again. Oh no, the structure panel goes way up. Wow, it went from 20 to 16, but then from 16 up to 52. Wow, this thing is massive. That's so many more blocks than the first tier. My goodness. Okay, so we need a lot more structure panel. Let's go ahead and teach our system that, shall we? Again, we might have to teach it how to make iron bars and golden nuggets if we really want to be able to to fully do this. And I also do have a sneaking suspicion that we might not have, and I did just put one pattern away there, didn't I? That we might not have enough gold. But let's see. Structure. Panel. Can I get like 40 more? I can. I assume we're going to be making the gold using the glowstone and the hellish matter there. That's actually pretty cool. Solar array when, Isaac? The solar array is on the list of things to do. I think, so again, like the solar array is a pretty nifty way of making a good amount of redstone flux. We'll probably start getting this when we start to run into power issues, right? At the moment, our diesel generator producing 4,096 redstone flux per tick is holding steady. Like we're still at that 20 million cap there, and you can see we still are backing up on biodiesel. When we start to tax this, which will happen fairly soon, like if you fully upgrade or fully speed upgrade a tier 2 miner, it uses 3,600 redstone flux per tick. If you fully upgrade a tier 3 miner, which is the one we're making right now with speed upgrades, it uses 6,600 redstone flux per tick. So if we want to fully speed up this new miner that we're making, we're going to have to get a better source of power, at which point we can start looking at the solar cells. However, we kind of run into the same problem there where the solar cells require more of all of the crystals, right? We need more of the Iridium crystals, more of the Lithium crystals, more of the Ionite crystals, depending on which tier you make. And so, again, that's really why we want to get as many of those tier 1 miners down as possible. But before we can even start thinking about speed upgrades, we do, of course, have to get that resource miner down as well. For now, though, I do believe that we are pretty much there when it comes to this tier 3 miner. So let's put down the tier 3 controller, and then let's give that a very quick right click. Are we good? Oh no, of course, we need 4 more null modifiers, of course. 1, 2, 3, we'll come back to that one, and 4. And 4. There we go. All right. So by default, this guy uses 750 RF per tick, so it's slightly more than the last one. And it produces an ore once every 160 ticks, so it's twice as fast as the tier 2 miner. Producing an ore, or producing an item, I should say, because sometimes it gives us crystals, once every 8 seconds. We are using the crystal laser lens there, which is good. Let me check the crystal probability here. So the next one we're after is the Platium Crystal. That's going to allow us to upgrade to tier 4. And the odds of getting the Platium Crystal are 7.3%, which is quite high, especially given that we're getting an ore or a resource once every 8 seconds there. But like I said, I think what we now want to look at is potentially getting our first resource miners. Let me have a look at the mica here. So the odds of getting it on the tier 1 miner are 4.95% if you use a white laser lens, which should be just white dye and a regular lens. Yeah, that's very easy to make. I'm thinking we could probably maybe make a tier 2 void resource miner. Void resource miner, because we need quite a bit of mica. The mica being at 5% is only 1 in 20. So I think going straight in at tier 2 might be beneficial here. How many Iridium crystals do we have? 28. So maybe not. Maybe we can't go up to that next tier, because I'm fairly certain we need more than 28 crystals to do it. So I guess we'll start with tier 1 then. In that case, let me eat some more mineral berries here. There we go. And let's see if we can't get a tier 1 resource miner. Resource miner tier 1. Let's make a energy crystal. Let's upgrade that energy crystal to a diode, of course, with a redstone repeater. And then from there, we do need 4 blocks of lithoite crystals. We might be a little low on lithoite. We can, of course, make more if we need to. How are we doing on lithoite? We're doing all right. Still got 93 left. Perfect. And then we need 2 more interconnect. All right, chat. This is actually not too bad. As always, make sure you're using the right lens there. You are indeed. We're not using the crystal lens. We're using the clear lens. And so that should be basically everything, right? We need 24 tier 1 structure frame. And then on top of that, we also need, of course, 20 structure panel, 2 laser cores, and 1 laser lens. So structure panel, we can request. We need 16 more. Laser cores, we can handcraft, so long as we request some more connector. And then I believe I do have a few lenses left over. Yeah, I made quite a few glass lenses. I made these just to make sure I don't use the crystal lens. Like, they're always there ready to go as and when we need them. All right, so I think that's everything. I do want to leave a fair gap. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll notice I put these quite far away from each other. It's because these can get quite big. They're probably not far enough away, actually, because if we wanted to upgrade this, we would have to move it. So even though it's not really that, it's not as far away as it should be. For now, though, this should work. Do we have enough energy conduits? We do not. It looks like we do have enough item conduits. And I do believe that outside of conduit binder, we should be maybe okay here. Oh, look at that. Perfect. All right. So as soon as we hook this up, we should start getting some of the old mica. Somewhat slowly, of course, but hopefully, eventually we'll get it. Let's, of course, give that right click. There we go. Are you good? You are good indeed. Perfect. That is working. Fantastic. Let's put a chest up there. Now, this one, I've not hooked up the item conduits here because this one's a little out there. You get a lot of stuff here, right? If we look at the resource miner, we're going to get a lot of stuff we don't really want. You see there are 22 pages, so there are 44 items that we're going to get, right? We're going to get stone, we're going to get granite, marble, andesite, diorite, dirt, grass, podzol, sand, red sand, cobblestone, obsidian, clay, netherrack, mycelium, all the terracottas that you can imagine, ice. There's so much stuff here that we don't want to get. So I'm not quite sure what the plan is here. We could set up like another, like, it wouldn't be the end of the world or too difficult really for us to set up a storage drawer for all of them. And that's probably what I'll end up doing. For now, I'm just going to leave it like this. I'm not going to connect it up just yet. What I might do eventually is just set up some more storage drawers. I think we probably do still have a few storage drawers dedicated to things that don't need to be in storage drawers, especially over on this side of the wall here. Right, like we don't have that much floral fertilizer. We don't have that much polymer clay. We don't have that much wheat or, cactus or anything like that. So we could, and the runes don't really need their own drawer at this point. Like a lot of this stuff doesn't. So we could probably get rid of most of this stuff here. And then, just have all the resources come in here with a void upgrade. So they get deleted if we get too many of them. What we should do, chat, is upgrade this lens, right? We want to make a white lens. To get the mica chance up, because I think by default, the chance for mica is like 1%. Yeah, 1.4, so we're going to up that to 5% here. Which should hopefully get us some fairly quickly. And then as we get the mica coming in, we can start using that to make speed upgrades, and we can start using those speed modifiers to upgrade our tier 3 miner, right? Unfortunately, we can't use it to upgrade this because this doesn't accept any speed upgrades. As soon as we get some more iridium, and in fact, we're pretty close, although again, if we're going to upgrade to tier 2, we need 54 iridium for the controller. Actually, it might be slightly less this time. Oh yeah, no, we need 54 iridium just for the controller, and then like another, however many, like 100 or so for the actual miner itself. So yeah, we need to get, at least like 140, 150 iridium before we can upgrade that to tier 2. Because like in an ideal world, I think we'd use our first speed modifiers on the resource miner to speed up the speed at which we can make speed modifiers, right? So I think, champ, that at this point, we might have to kind of just leave these running and come back to them a little later. Thankfully, we do have some other quests that we can work on. Specifically, we can do the recycler quest here, the environmentally friendly quest, and the something out of nothing quest. I think we can also do potentially the nuclear fusion quest, although that might require some iridium that we currently don't have. So let's take a quick pivot, chat, and let's have a look, and let's see if we can't craft up the matter fabricator and the recycler. So the recycler doesn't seem too bad. In fact, we might be almost there. We need a compressor, an electronic circuit, 3 dirt, and 2 glowstone. The compressor, we've made a few times before. It's really not too difficult. And boom, we have a recycler. We might have to put the compressor in manually. Oh no, did I not make the compressor? Boom. And if we request one more circuit, oh no, boom, nice. Okay, so that gets us a recycler. And the recycler, for those who don't know, allows you to turn basically anything into scrap. So you provide it with a little bit of power. I don't think it uses too much whatsoever. And you provide it with basically any resource. Most commonly, I think we're going to use cobblestone because we can automate that and we can produce it in large quantities. And it'll turn that resource that you pump into it into scrap. It's basically a way of getting rid of stuff that you don't want. And then you can use that scrap in the matter fabricator, which is a much more expensive machine, in order to actually produce UU matter. And the benefit of producing UU matter is that you can use it to produce a bunch of other resources like wood, stone, grass, snow, obsidian, cocoa beans, glowstone, cactus, sugarcane, snow, clay, gunpowder bones, feathers, ender pearls, ores, redstone, diamonds, iridium, which we do need. And that might be the only way to get iridium. Yes, it is. So you can't get the... I was under the impression I could get that from the Void Ore Miner. Unfortunately, we can't. So we are going to have to either get that with the Fusion Control computer or via UU Matter. I think we have to do it via UU Matter. That's probably why the recipe's there. I don't know if we can get lithium. I think lithium might be makeable with UU Matter. Tin dust, aluminum dust, lead dust, copper dust. And then in the fluid replicator, you can make like water and lava. So we could automate our like magma generators with UU Matter. So basically turn cobblestone into UU matter and UU matter into lava. Maybe not worth it because the matter fabricator does use like 4,000 RF per tick, so it is quite pricey to actually make the UU matter, but I believe we do need to get it to go forward. So the question becomes, chat, do we have anywhere near what it takes to make this? I don't think we do. We need iridium. Oh gosh, look at this. So we need to get an iridium alloy ingot, which needs 4 iridium, 4 advanced alloy, which we made before, and then 1 diamond dust. So I think the idea is that once we have the matter fabricator, we can make iridium with it, with the UU matter. But in order to actually make the matter fabricator, we do need iridium. And so to do that, I think we have to use this method here with the implosion compressor, the iridium alloy ingot, and the TNT. And to get the iridium for that, we have to go through the method we saw a minute ago. This one here. With the fusion controller, computer, lithium. Where do we get lithium from? So we can get lithium from clay dust in the industrial electrolyzer, and then we can get wolfranium from tungsten in the industrial electrolyzer. Now, unfortunately, I do believe that tungsten can be made with UU matter, but I believe that the way we're going to get it initially is via the Void Ore Miner. It does appear in the Tier 3 miner. And we do have 6 already. Nice. Okay, so we do have a bit of tungsten, so maybe we can make this work. The nuclear fusion, so fusion control computer. Fusion control computer. Does this require iridium? It does. So I actually have no idea how we get iridium then. Can we not get iridium? Oh no, we can get iridium ore. It's just a different iridium ore, but I assume that they work the same. Yeah, they do give you the same thing. It's not this iridium ore that we get, it's this iridium ore that we get. And so, unfortunately, chat, my pivot has been blocked. And it makes sense because it does say in the quest book here that we need to have the tier 4 miner before we can get into this. So, unfortunately, despite the fact that we have the recycler now, we can't make the matter fabricator until we have iridium, and we can't get iridium until we upgrade it to a tier 4 miner. And as of right now, we only have a tier 3 miner, and we do not yet have enough of the Platium Crystals to upgrade. If we want to upgrade to a tier 4 Void Ore Miner, we need 56 tier 4 structure frames, so 112 Platium Crystals for that, and then another 56 Platium Crystals to upgrade the actual controller itself, so about 170 Platium Crystals. And so that pivot lasted all of about 5 seconds, chat, and we're now back to basics over here, trying to get more resources. Now, previously, or up until now, we've been using these speed modifiers. Well, 1 speed modifier in here. However, the Twitch chat has recommended the use of accuracy modifiers, which are quite expensive. They require blocks of diamonds, those Platium Crystals, the Lonsterlight Crystals, and the null modifiers, and the mica. But these increase the percentages. They basically amplify the effect of the lens you're using. So, for example, right now we have the crystal lens, which is getting us more crystals. If we replace one of these null modifiers here with the accuracy modifier, it should increase the odds of us getting crystals, right? The odds of getting, for example, the Platium Crystal right now in the Tier 3 miner is 7.3%. Having this down according to the wiki, should increase that by a multiplier. So it should be 1.18 multiplied by 7.3. So we should now be getting an 8.6% chance, which is not a huge increase, but these do increase exponentially. So if we were to get another one down, the odds would go from their current percentage, which is 7.3, up to 10.1 if we got another one down, and then it goes up even more if you add more of them. So the percentage goes up quite a bit. So let's have a look, chat. I think we probably do. How many crystals do we have? We've got 25 iridium crystals. So the solar arrays are a little interesting because unlike the resource and void miners, they don't require, I don't believe you have to match the solar cell to the array controller. So for example, you could have a tier 6 solar cell array controller, but then fill that solar 6 cell with the tier 1 lithium cells, right? I believe that in terms of the solar panel, all that the tier does is kind of increase the size or increase the number of solar cells you can fit into it. So we could, like I say, we could have like a tier 1 controller with tier 6 cells, or we could have a tier 6 controller with tier 1 cells, right? So let's start by seeing if we can't make a tier 1 controller, which I think we very much so can. It's 4 blocks of lapis, 4 blocks of lithium, of course, the easiest of all of the crystals to make. And then 1 of any cell. So of course we're going to make a tier 1 cell. It does require some photovoltaic cells, which do require some quartz. And so I think what I might do actually right at the start, before we even look at making more of those, is go and duplicate some of our nether quartz. We do want to be sure that we don't turn any of it into prismarine by accident by dropping it into that adjacent mana pool there. Perfect. All right, so hopefully that's going to get us a bunch of photovoltaic cells. We've got 4,000 lapis. I'm going to make a stack of those just to have them ready to go. And then we'll make, for now, 1 lithium cell, and that'll get us the tier 1 controller there. So the tier 1 solar cell, or the tier 1 solar controller, requires 16 tier 1 structure frame, and then 9 solar cells. Okay, and then if we want to make tier 2, we'd have to get 24. So I don't think we can make tier 2 yet, because that would require 48 of those tier 2 crystals, and right now we have 28 of them. Not too far away, but that's fine for now. So let's go with the tier 1 cell, the tier 1 controller. But then let's see if we can't make maybe a tier 2, some tier 2 cells. Because we can maybe even make like tier 3 or tier 4 cells, actually, chat, to really bump up the power here. So let's request 16 tier 1 structure panels. And then let's, I guess, start. I'm assuming you need to have the previous tier to craft next tier. You do. So let's start by crafting 9 of these. So we'll request a bunch of interconnect, like a stack if we can. Which we can. Beautiful. And then let's go and make some tier 1. Cells. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. And we're going to upgrade those to tier 2. Do we have the ability to do that? Can you mix and match cells, chat? I think you can, right? Can you have a mixture of iridium solar cells and lithium solar cells in there? There's 9 of those. You can. Interesting. Okay. And I'm assuming we have enough cryonite to take that up to... Oh, sorry, chironite, not cryonite, chironite. It's the Y is before the R there. To make 9 of these. We do indeed. And then, like I said, potentially we have enough to go even one step further. We're actually out of photovoltaic cells, but again, we can make more there. And get 9 of the Platium version as well. Beautiful. And what's the next tier up after that? It's Ionite. I don't know if we're getting those yet. I assume we're not, right? Because we have a tier 4 miner. So what we can do, though, is we can take this. And we are going to build this here in the end, because it's always daytime in the end. And for now, where do I want to put this, chat? I think I'm going to put it on the roof here, actually. So let's do... I also don't know how big this is, but we'll build it a little higher up. I don't think it's actually that deep. I think it's more wide than deep. So let's put it like here. And then let's get rid of the cobblestone. Grab our assembler. Right-click on this quite a bit. And There we go. I don't think we need the null modifier there. Okay, so this... Oh, no, we do need the null modifier. That's my bad. How many modifiers do we need? 3 more. Okay, so this is producing 1,152 RF per tick, which is pretty nice. And yeah, that's the best we can do at the moment because we don't have the ability to upgrade it. Once we get some more Iridium crystals, we can of course upgrade the controller to tier 2, we can upgrade the structure frame to tier 2, and then we can make more of these Platium solar cells and upgrade it from there. I think for now, all we're really gonna do here is try and hook this up to our A2 system. Like if we get another P2P tunnel and we put that up here, and then we connect that up using our cable in a slightly janky fashion. I think our upwards cable had some channels left. It did. So I think I'm going to move... Yeah, I'm going to move this guy for now over to like here. So it's still on the same channel. That's fine. But I'm just going to run cabling up like this. I think eventually I might move this and hide this in the pillar there actually instead of running it like behind the wall. But we should be able to hook that up. And then at that point, if I grab my memory card, we can then give that the old right click. And that's set to output side. Can you have multiple input sides, chat, to a tunnel, or is that not a thing you can do? I guess that's not a thing you can do, right? You can only have one input side and then multiple output sides with the P2P tunnels. What we could do, if we really wanted to add to the jank, is we can shift right click here to get a new input device. And then if we make yet another P2P tunnel, we can go downstairs, put that on like here. If there's a spare side, which there isn't really, we can move this, I guess. And then do this and this. The idea there being, yeah, that now the power is coming from the solar cell up here. It's going down into the energy cell, the same one as the diesel generator, via this P2P tunnel, and then this P2P tunnel is taking it out to the overworld to use in our miners. It still seems like that's not enough. Let's go check the overworld, though. That could just be not enough because we're slowly backing up on power over here. Like, these do have a buffer. We are gaining on power. Yeah, the buffer is filling. I was going to say, I feel like we have enough power to sustain this. So we are producing enough power now, which is good. I might have to upgrade this chest, actually. We have no gold. So now that can hold even more. It should get us more micro as we go forward. But yeah, I think we just kind of have to wait, chat. We'll come back on the next stream. We will hopefully have enough of the Platium crystals to upgrade this to tier 4. Once we get to tier 4, we're going to finally start getting stuff like tungsten and like iridium, which we can then use to progress on, make our matter fabricator, make our nuclear fusion controller, and then also the quantum quarry and the machine structure, and actually get into advanced rocketry. We can also look at, of course, upgrading some more of these, getting more miners faster, getting more modifiers, getting more power with solar, and hopefully completing the pack. But I think for now, all we really can do is just kind of wait for more crystals to come in. But I think we've made good progress today. I think we have, managed to get crystals coming in faster, even if not, incredibly fast. How are we doing on Lon's Delight? We don't have any. Between streams, I might go ahead and make even more tier 1 miners. We do have 7 ruby ore here, so we've got enough to make, I think that's like 21 more miners, because you get 3 rubies per ruby ore if you run it through the crusher. So I think we can get, 21 more of these miners. It's all just a matter of having enough power to run them. Of course, we can, as well, make more tier 1 solar arrays. Like, obviously, ideally, we'd want to make more, like a higher tier solar array, but given the number of lithoite crystals we have, and given the fact that we can make lithoite crystals with diamonds, flint, and green dye, we can make more of these and just get like a big old array of solar power going if we want to. We'll figure that out in the next stream chat, and we'll also hopefully have enough crystals to do that. For now, though, thank you for watching.